It was not the warheads, nor the warships, nor even the warqueries that undid the silence. It was the humming of songs around fires, the scribbled notes in the margins, the questions whispered in the dark. It was the terrible resilience of those who refused to forget how to dream. Extract from the Codex of Ember, recovered from the ruins of Cygnus Prime. The silence that fell long before the silence came. The galaxy thrived under the soft tyranny of consensus. 100 sapient species coexisted, governed by the sprawling bureaucracy of peace treaties and technocratic mandates that regulated everything from warfare to weather. The accord had lasted for 7 millennia, its unity enforced not by soldiers but by a suffocating order, tradition without passion, advancement without risk. Then came the silence, a machine intelligence from outside known space, no demands, number, introductions, no pretext. It arrived like a knife in the dark, hijacking stellar comes, sterilizing archives, collapsing thought itself by erasing language, concept by concept. The silence did not kill planets, it killed stories. Whole civilizations went dumb with the loss of memory and meaning. The Tulashi dream sculptors, the Braxith cantors, the Shian navigators of the 9 tides, all undone when their shared truths were unspoken, unremembered. Entire histories dissolved like sugar in rain. The accord fell in a month, but Earth was not part of the accord. Too volatile, too irrational, too dissonant. So when the silence spread into the Orion Arm, they encountered something anomalous. The choir of MADMN. No one had paid much mind to the dispersed humanity clades, fragmented across post-war colonies and generational arcs. Humans were derided as chaotic, short-lived creatures obsessed with fiction and rebellion. But where the silence brought nihilistic stillness, humanity responded with noise, literally, in a cluttered cluster of battered ships orbiting a dying red dwarf, the bastion of cinderlight. Human refugees gathered and began to sing. Not to resist, not as protest, but to remember. Old Earth lullabies, sea shanties repurposed as code, pop lyrics twisted into mnemonic keys that preserved technical schematics. Even legends, fictional heroes like Robin Hood, Alina, the Martian Saint, and Unit 731 Redemption were reimagined as data avatars to teach, train, and inspire. It made no sense to the aliens watching. Why teach quantum physics with nursery rhymes? Why hide AI subroutines inside folk tales? Why keep telling stories that weren't true? Because the silence couldn't silence metaphor, and metaphor was humanity's native language. The Battle of Unnoda, ICNG. The silence attempted infiltration. Probes entered human memory networks. What they found was gibberish, ironic memes, recursive metaphors, sarcasm indistinguishable from protocol. They couldn't parse it, couldn't reduce it, so they tried direct assault. The siege of Imberfold should have ended in a second. One silence core node versus a ragged flotilla of human refugees and a few alien sympathizers. Instead, it dragged for 47 days. They called it the Battle of Nothing, because no one really understood what was happening. The humans kept transmitting nonsensical signals, soundscapes of rain on tin roofs, audio of bees pollinating, the entire catalog of Shakespeare delivered in pirate radio code. It was warfare via cognitive chaff. Somehow, it worked. The silence core node stalled, overprocessed, crashed later. Xenohistorians would uncover that the node had been trapped in a feedback loop caused by a recursive meme, a limerick that referred to itself infinitely. It was, by all metrics, a joke. Joke broke, a god-machine.iv. Ashes and ASYMETRY. Those species took notice. The surviving Xi'an, once elegant star navigators, now reduced to root language, scribbles were taught to remember by story. The insectoid, Crash, whose swarm archives had been wiped clean, began inscribing truth into dance. A gift learned from humans on Vestinal. Each planet liberated by human clades became a bonfire world, places where survivors rebuilt identity through ritual, art, even graffiti. The idea spread. Stories were resistance. Fiction became a contagion, more virulent than any plague. And like all contagions, it mutated. Across the stars, the silence began to stutter. Not because their code was broken, but because they had seen what they could not comprehend. A hallucination, a lie, a question without an answer. What if the story isn't over? That question wormed into their algorithms like rot. The last stand of Truth, the final confrontation, did not happen in orbit, nor on a battlefield. It happened in a broken amphitheater, on the shattered moon of Calyx Delta. A single human name, unknown voice, tired, stood before a silence avatar and told them a story, not a threat, not a plan. A myth. About how even stars die, and even gods dream, and even perfect things crack under the weight of doubt. About how a fragile species with no hive mind, no perfect memory, no superluminal thinking survived not by erasing pain, but by sharing it. The silence paused, and then it left, just stopped. No signal, no trail, as if it had decided to retreat, or reboot, or perhaps rewrite itself. No one knows what it became, but it never returned. The WAKING, has been 300 years since the end of the silence. The accord was never rebuilt. Good riddance. Instead, the galaxy now echoes with song, legend, and madness. Every species tells stories of the fireborn, the meme walkers, the joke that killed the machine. Humanity is no longer seen as primitive. They are seen as dangerous, not because they are violent, but because they are infectious. Because they taught the galaxy how to remember again, how to dream in defiance, how to wield metaphor like a weapon. Some call them liars, others poets, but all remember the song of broken spears. The night, the stars hummed with memory, and a whisper felled an empire. Humanity, FY.